Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA, from the Black Boule, in this all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Better get the coleslaw, y'all, because we're having us a barbecue. A couple in Memphis were arrested after they ran over the head of a repo man who was trying to repossess their car.
A sickening, horrifying moment caught on camera. A repo man run over by a driver trying to escape his car being towed. This whole thing played out in just a matter of seconds. And this video, it is disturbing and shocking to watch.
Yeah, and we want to stress the only reason why we're showing it to you because the man is okay, which is why, again, we're showing you the video. It all unfolded. Let's map it out for you this morning at the University Gardens Manor Apartments on North Cabana Circle. We want to warn you again, the video you're about to see can be unsettling and even hard to watch.
Fox 13's Carolyn Serta joins us live from the Tillman precinct. Carolyn, it is hard to believe that victim was able to survive those injuries.
Just incredible. Darcy and Daniel, that victim we know is recovering tonight. So again, we are about to show you that video. Another warning, it can be disturbing to some. It shows that car backing over this victim's head and then taking off.
What appears to start as a routine repossession quickly turns violent when a Memphis repo man gets underneath the wheel of a car and the driver backs over his head. Watch again from the beginning as the tow truck driver grabs the chains to secure this red Ford Focus. A man runs behind him and hops into the driver's seat, turns on the ignition, and hits reverse. Memphis police say this unfolded just before 8 this morning here at the University Gardens Manor Apartments. As the victim screams in pain, a woman can be seen disregarding him, instead directing the driver how to escape. Memphis police say the man and woman fled the scene, and miraculously, the victim is able to walk away, sharing his horrific experience on social media, along with these pictures from his hospital bed showing his injuries. Memphis police say the victim had abrasions on his head, a large black mark on the front of his sweatshirt, complained of arm pain, and had to be shaken to be kept conscious.
It's hard to watch. It's real hard to watch.
Neighbors who didn't want to be identified, all shaken by the video, but also concerned with how the whole situation played out.
I feel sorry for him, yeah, but I don't think your job that important, bro. I don't think it's a person that tow cars. He probably should have seen, he should have looked what was going on and decided not to put his head under the car.
Memphis police say a witness on scene told them they had sold that car to the woman in the video, who they say wasn't making payments. She told police she'd put the car up for repossession and contacted the repo man to pick it up.
And Memphis police tonight have not identified those two people in the video, the man and woman. And at last check, no one had been arrested for this incident. I did also reach out to that victim. They had their phone off, but posted on social media that they were resting tonight.
Well, Carolyn, you just said that the suspects at this point have not been captured. So we can only assume that since they haven't been captured, there are no charges at this point.
Yeah, absolutely right, Darcy. So again, we did just check right now. No one has been booked for this crime just yet. The police report shows that officers responded to what they called an aggravated assault at that location. But again, after seeing that video, I definitely have to believe that these people will be facing some serious charges once they are captured. Darcy?
That is Fox 13's Carolyn Serta reporting live tonight. Thank you so much, Carolyn.
Now, in this alleged incident that took place in Memphis, in a video that went viral on social media, a tow truck driver, Phil Pac-Man Jones, was doing a repossession on a late model Ford Focus that was in the parking lot of an apartment complex. And as Phil Pac-Man Jones was allegedly doing this repossession of this vehicle in this parking lot, this is where 34-year-old Nicholas Ray scrambled across the parking lot, got into that Ford Focus, and started it up, allegedly running over the head and shoulders of Phil Pac-Man Jones, who miraculously survived being run over by a 2-ton vehicle. And as Nicholas Ray was looking to get this vehicle out of the parking lot, he had an accomplice in a possible girlfriend who was looking to allegedly help him steer this vehicle out of the parking lot, Brandy Revels. And as they were looking to get the vehicle out of the parking lot of the apartment complex, they basically drove the vehicle out of the parking lot without little regard for the life of Phil Pac-Man Jones, the tow truck driver who was just looking to do the work of the bank or the dealership that was looking to repossess this older model vehicle. And while Nicholas Ray and Brandy Revels were able to get the vehicle out of the lot, they basically were eventually caught later on, and as they were caught later on, they were taken into custody and charged with aggravated assault, and I'm still wondering why they weren't charged with attempted murder. Now, the Memphis police, see this as an isolated incident, but when I take a critical examination of the behavior of Nicholas Ray, it definitely fits the pattern and profile for beta males that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis, and it also fits the pattern and profile of simps that I talk about in my book, Stop Simping, Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance. Now, according to some reports, they allege that the vehicle was owned by Brandy Revels, and basically Nicholas Ray was looking to repossess the vehicle, and if that was the case, then he definitely is looking like a big-time simp, a simp who had no regard for not only the life of the tow truck driver Phil Pac-Man Jones, but also didn't have regard for his intangibles of manhood, such as his dignity, such as his self-respect, and most importantly, his freedom. And he was willing to put all of those intangibles at risk, all to get the approval of a woman, according to some reports. And that just basically shows how dysfunctional this man is, that he was willing to put more important intangibles at risk, all to get the approval of a woman. I mean, basically this man put his freedom at risk and put the life of another man at risk over a late model used vehicle, that basically was looking like somebody made a bad deal on, because usually these type of cars like this Ford Focus, which looks to be looking like about a 2008, maybe 2009 version of the Ford Focus, a car Ford Motor Company no longer even makes anymore. I mean, if you're making a deal to go out here and buy this car on a loan with some payments, that's a completely backwards deal, because usually older model cars like this can easily be found in places like Facebook Marketplace for under $1,000, or they can be found at the auto auctions for maybe about $1,000 to about $2,500, because these are usually just good cheap A to B cars that people basically buy just to go out here and just go to work and back. It's not really a car that people would, again, put so much money in. Unfortunately, when it comes down to a lot of dysfunctional beta males and some dysfunctional black women. They will go out here and get something like an income tax refund, go out here and look to make a deal on a car like this at a dealership, which is completely insane that you're going to go out here and take a loan out on a later model vehicle like this and look to pay for it in installments, pay for this later model vehicle, which is basically depreciated to the point where it basically has no value whatsoever, because again, this is a 2009, maybe 2011 Ford Focus at best. And again, you wouldn't want to go out here and pour a lot of money into this type of vehicle, but usually when it comes down to women who don't understand how the business of buying cars works, they see a car, get caught up in their emotions and go out here and buy that kind of vehicle on one of those bad deals. And yes, they'll have money for the down payment. Yes, they'll have money for maybe 1 or 2 installments. But what will eventually overwhelm them is that they have to continue making these payments every month. And on top of it, they have to deal with all of the maintenance of an older car, things like oil changes, things like having to go out here and deal with issues as related to replacing the brakes and the suspension. And again, because these women are paying these deals with these installments, what happens is the car winds up getting underwater as related to the payments. And as they start having issues with the car, this is where they stop making payments, and eventually this is where the repo man comes in and looks to repossess these vehicles, and that leads to these women basically winding up with their credit being tarnished and their whole financial reputation being ruined. And that's what it looks like to me here is happening here, that we're dealing with a hood rat special. We're dealing with a hood rat special of, I got some tax money, I'm going to go buy a car, I missed the payments, and now the repo man's coming to take back the car. And in this whole case, possibly what's happened is that we have this simp basically looking to try to put on his cape and his Mickey Mouse galoshes and play Captain Save him to save this car that this couple basically wasn't making any payments at all on, as related to the just jacked up whole deal that they made for this car. Again, I have been watching a lot of car YouTubers like Sam Crack and V-Tuned and other car YouTubers out here like VCore, and they can tell you that, again, you can get many of these older model cars at a really good deal, either at the auto auction, or you can get those cars at a good deal at Facebook Marketplace. I mean, there are cars that are basically in this same range as this Ford Focus that you can own outright with a complete title and everything going, and you can own it outright, fully paid for, and you don't have to go to no dealership again to get nothing on installments. You don't have to pay for no loan. No, if you've got a stack in your pocket, you can just go out here and pay for that vehicle cash and have yourself some nice A to B transportation. That's what you could have if you understand how to go out here and buy cars and know what to look for in looking to buy a car. I mean, at the most, you'll only pay about maybe $200 for the mechanic to go look it over before you go buy it. And that's all you're going to basically pay if you know what you're doing. But when you don't know what you're doing, like a simp like this guy and his girlfriend, you really go out here and you get caught up in one of these bad deals. And again, these bad deals happen all the time during tax time. And what happens are that when these vehicles are about to be repossessed, that's when these owners go berserk and go looking to, again, scramble to try to save this car that they should have never bought in the first place. And by a miracle, this driver, Phil Pac-Man, basically survived this entire incident with just a little minor injury, because if this whole vehicle had came over his head and shoulders, he could have basically wound up with his head completely being squashed. And instead of these two being in custody for aggravated assault, they would be in jail for murder 1. That's how bad this whole situation was as related to both of these individuals in this incident, Brandy Revels and Nicholas Ray. Both of them could have been in dealing with murder 1 as related to the whole repossession of this vehicle, and they could have gone from being again, people who could have been, again, going to the county jail, not just for aggravated assault, but I believe attempted murder, because, again, this was done with malice of forethought as related to the Repo man. It was done with malice of forethought in that they had no regard for the life of this man over this older used vehicle, had no regard for his life at all, and again showed how little regard they had, because all they wanted to do was keep this vehicle. Now, I understand that people in areas like Memphis do need a car to get around, and I know that transportation is important, but the big problem I see with Nicholas Ray and the woman that he's with is that they really did not understand about money management, and this is a big problem I see with especially a lot of black males. They really don't understand money management, and this is why they get into situations like this, because if you're a man, the first thing you thinking about is supposed to be about putting yourself first, and part of putting yourself first is making sure that you are in a budget where your essentials are taken care of first. I go in depth on this in my book, Stop Simping in the Workplace, and the first thing you want to do is make sure that your transportation is paid for as related to you getting back and forth to work, 1. 2, you want to make sure that your gas is paid for as related to you getting back and forth to work. So you want to make sure that your vehicle is taken care of as related to this whole situation first. And you want to make sure that your vehicle is, that the payments are being made or it's being paid for. That's what you want to make sure is taken care of first. Unfortunately, when it comes down to simps and beta males, many simps and beta males really don't do a good job of managing their money because they're emotional dudes. And because they're emotional dudes, they'll go out here and go along with schemes like this one, where the woman is looking to, again, buy a car, or he possibly, if it would be even sadder if he was the one buying this car and still paying for, again, an 09 or 05 or even 08 Ford Focus. I mean, you're still paying for a car that Ford don't even make no more. And that's what's really sad about this whole situation. Still paying for a car that Ford don't even make no more, and you possibly couldn't get parts for if you tried to get them. I mean, this was what this guy is basically put his whole life in jeopardy for, because he had poor money management skills, and even worse, poor life skills. Because again, if you're a man, you shouldn't be out here, again, doing stuff like this, because there are more important intangibles than that car, such as your health, such as your safety, and most importantly, your freedom, and I would say your dignity, because you're sacrificing your own worth by putting this vehicle above of those more important things like your health, your safety, and your freedom, and your life. And in the case of Nicholas Ray, this is where he's going to go from being a free man who was living in an apartment complex, who was driving a Hoopty, to now losing his car and losing his freedom, and will possibly be dealing with a civil lawsuit from Phil Pac-Man guy will be dealing with all of this as he's inside of jail, and if he's convicted, will be dealing with worse in the penitentiary, as he's going to go from looking to save his ride to having his front side and back side written by Bubba, Tiny, Roscoe, Big Dave, Melvin, and Mr. Sprinkles, and he's gonna go from being free and being able to eat at places like Church's Chicken to going to only having to scavenge as related to the commissary, and basically sacrificing more of his dignity as he's traded for Little Debbie snack cakes, ramen noodles, packets of Crystal Light lemonade, packets of Crystal Light tea, packets of Hawaiian punch, packets of off-brand lemon lime drink, packets of off-brand grape drink, packets of off-brand orange drink, packets of off-brand orange drink, packets of apple juice, Hunt's snack pack puddings, off-brand Oreo cookies, off-brand duplex cookies, off-brand vanilla wafers, off-brand ginger snaps, off-brand sugar wafers, off-brand chocolate chip cookies, off-brand vanilla wafers. I mean, he and other items such as sriracha sauce, packets of soy sauce, packets of ketchup and mustard, beef summer sausages, hot tamales, hot and sour ramen noodles, pickles, and other assorted items of the commissary. And as he's basically getting his whole body violated by Bubba, Tiny, Roscoe, Big Dave, Melvin, and Mr. Sprinkles as they're giving him the ride of his life inside of the jail cell. He's going to regret ever looking to try to save this repossessed car as he is in this penitentiary. And as he's in this penitentiary, he's basically going to feel the shame as he's being, again, trading his dignity for these commissary items that he could have easily bought in one of those grocery stores for less than $1. And after he's, again, had his front side and back side filled up with all of those beef summer sausages, Mr. Sprinkles will come in, spray the special sauce all over dude's front side and back side, and then call all the guys of Cell Block D to come in to check out his backside as he splits the cheeks open and shows his backside looking like the inside of a Louisiana crunch cake. And that's sadly where Nicholas Ray will basically regret the day he decided to go try to save the car that he no longer could have the payments for, or the woman he had couldn't make the payments for in this Hood Rat special, and will realize that he basically, again, destroyed his entire life and basically lost his freedom over a vehicle that, again, was that he purchased as related to a bad deal. And that's where this man basically will learn a hard lesson about being a simp for a woman as related to, again, an older model car, and being a simp as related to this older model car, and basically putting his freedom in jeopardy, where he went from being a free man to winding up becoming a man in crisis, and becoming a man in crisis over something as trivial as a car. Now, I know, again, transportation is important, but if transportation is important, then you've got to look out for your money. You've got to look out to manage your money and take care of your money and take care of your bills first, because part of putting yourself first is putting your bills first and getting those bills paid. And if you know you need transportation to get from one place to the other, you want to make sure that that transportation is paid for. You want to make sure that that vehicle is in good standing, because you don't want to have to deal with a repo guy coming to take your car back. You don't want to go out here and to have a repo guy taking your car back, and you don't want to go get so caught up in your emotions that you wind up impulsively making a decision to, again, fight to save this car, because the fight to save this car basically took Nicholas Ray from being a free man to winding up becoming a man in crisis, who will possibly be in prison for a good long time, where he will go from being ever experiencing freedom. Meanwhile, the same woman he did this for, if it's according to some reports, he basically is going, she's possibly going to go her own way after this and possibly be with another man. And again, this is what happens when you don't do any sort of critical thinking, because a critical thinking man, the first thing he's thinking about is making sure that this vehicle is paid for in good standing, because again, if you buy a car, again, there's better ways to do it than making payments for an old vehicle like this. No, an old vehicle like this, basically, you don't go out here and make a deal like that where you're getting a lease for this or some sort of loan for it. No, this is one you buy outright with cash, and you buy outright with cash because, again, if this vehicle is over 10 years old, you buy it, again, straight with cash like people do on Facebook Marketplace, or they do as related to the auto auction. They go to the auto auction and pick these cars up for maybe $500. I mean, I've heard V2, one time he bought a couple of Nissan Sentras, again, Hood Rat specials, for under, $600. I mean, and his brother Motorhead bought the same thing, bought them for under $600. So buying these cars on a lease is incredibly stupid when they're readily available, again, through Facebook Marketplace or available at the auto auction, and you can get, again, vehicles for cheap. Some of them may need some repairs here and there. Others may be in pretty good condition because they're grandma specials, but you can get a better deal on a car than putting yourself in a situation where you go from being a free man to winding up becoming a man in crisis. Now, if you want to learn more about how to identify the dysfunctional behavior of a beta male to avoid winding up in situations where you can become a man in crisis, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis at other online booksellers like Draft the Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to learn how to identify the behavior of a simp, and how to break out of the behavior of a simp and the simp paradigm, you can pick up my book, Stop Simping: Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance, on Amazon.com, along with The Man Crisis, and you can find both of these books at other online booksellers like Barnes & Noble and other digital online booksellers like Draft the Digital, Google Play, and Walmart and Target. And if you want to see me make more videos about The Man Crisis, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Coming to paperback and e-readers, Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl. The aspiring angel takes on a wicked teenage witch in this action-packed, all-new Esteemed series adventure. Pre-order your copy of Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl at Amazon.com and other online booksellers. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Dark Incubus. The goddess next door gets enthralled in a romantic entanglement with an evil incubus in this all-new Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis, Dark Incubus in paperback and e-readers today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.